Phantom is one of those high profile cryptos that everybody was chasing in 2021 because these are people who probably missed out on Solana or several other L1s, and they thought that Phantom is the one that could make them rich again. But is Phantom yet another damn squib? Let's look at that today in our analysis. We'll try and see what is great, what are the concerns that I have, what are the risks, and what should you really be doing. Now, let's see what's great. What's great is that they are solving a real problem, right? However, there are too many people solving this real problem, which is the blockchain dilemma of scalability, decentralization, and security. Phantom, yet another token that has tried to prove that they are the ones that have solved this dilemma, and they do have some bit of backing to say that because they are EVM compatible and they have a growing ecosystem. Right? If we go down to let's say certain reports like the one by Nansen here, they're talking about a very elaborate ecosystem that has a good number of apps, right? A very significant number of apps, in fact. Right? If we look at their grants program, they have about a 335 million incentive program through which they are trying to grow this ecosystem. Plus the fact that they are EVM compatible, it makes it very easy for D apps to come onto the system. In addition to that, their total value locked is at this moment roughly about $500 million, less than $500 million, and I think at its peak it touched close to $8 billion. That's enormous. Right? So going by all this, it is definitely a great ecosystem which is growing, which seems to be making the right noises. Let's look at network statistics because that also is great. Right? If we go down to the chain analytics, we'll see that daily active addresses are even today well over 40,000. Right? Although it might have dropped in the last few days or few weeks from over 100,000 to about 40,000, but still this is great daily active numbers. Daily transactions, it was well over a million. Now it has fallen to roughly about 400, 500,000. Regardless, despite the fact that the market is coming down, this is still good transactions because we have seen cryptos that have barely 30 active addresses a day and that are valued at over $1 billion. We have seen such things like in the case of Mana. I've made a video on that earlier. Compared to all that, this is still better than that. Then the fact about inflationary risk, right? There is no inflationary risk. If you look at their token supply, you will see that already about 80% is in circulation, right? And in the next year or so, the rest will be out in circulation. So there is not much of an inflationary risk. Your token will not be diluted because the number of your token price or your holdings will not get diluted because a very large number of tokens will come out. So that is something that is good. You will not face a dilution risk when you buy this crypto. But what are the concerns? I do have a lot of concerns, right? The first one is that 40% of tokens are held by investors, right? If you look at the split, you'll see that public sale, private sale, and the seed sale combined is close to 40%. And 40% being held by investors means that these are people who are just waiting, for the fund, for the price to go up to some point because they have to exit, they have to return money to their LPs. So they will look for an exit, and when they try to do that, 40% of them trying to sell, of course not at the same time, but that's a significant amount that is with a certain group of people who have the intention of selling. So that's one concern. The second concern is there's no strong roadmap for the near future. Right? If you go down to the Phantom roadmap on Messari, you will see that they had a decent roadmap so far, right? And the last few items on the roadmap have been mostly around collaborations and not really on building new features, new functionalities, or new product modules and so on. So that's a bit concerning. Even on their white paper, right, the roadmap pretty much stops at second quarter of 2020. So that's a real concern because for a project that's in its early stages, it needs to have a strong roadmap to keep building out functionalities that are important to increase demand, and only then token price will increase. Right? If that does not happen, then I don't see how new users or new D apps will be attracted. And the next one is, where is the FVM update? I mean, I have not been able to find any source to say that the FVM update has happened. If it has happened and if I've not been able to find it, if you found it, do comment in below so that I can read about it. But I have not been able to find this. So they are transitioning essentially from the EVM compatible to something called FVM, Phantom Virtual Machine. This update is I think has been planned since 2018, and it's been more than 4 years, and it has not happened yet as far as I'm aware. So that's very concerning. You cannot take 4 years to build something in a space where people are doing things overnight. Then there's a concern of key members leaving the team, right? If we look at this, uh, Anton Nell, who was a senior solutions architect, and Andre, who was a very influential developer in the DeFi space, they were all leaving the Phantom Foundation. That resulted in a huge drop in crypto prices. The long-term impact of it, I think mostly it'll be around the fact that the vision, for where this or the direction for where Phantom should head will get disrupted. And I think we can sort of see that with the fact that there isn't really a strong roadmap for the near future. So that is a bit of a concern. What are the risks? There are a few risks that I'm really concerned about. Well, first one is that this is a crowded space. There are so many cryptos, right? In fact, the last few cryptos that I analyzed were all in this space. So this is a very crowded space. Most likely there might be like a maximum of five. I think there might be a maximum of five blockchains that might just survive till the end. And I can already think of three. Right? I can already think of like Ethereum and Binance and probably Wax, being there. And there's probably space for two, and I don't think Phantom is strong enough to be one of those two. So that's one key risk. There's a possible lawsuit. Right? There are speculations that Phantom ripped off Hedera Hedgegraph. Right? They literally ripped off Hedera Hedgegraph. They completely copied the consensus service, and I believe one of the team members even confirmed it on Twitter that yes, they are aware of it. When somebody tweeted to them, "Are you aware that you copied it?" So they said they are aware of it. So there is a possible lawsuit. What does that mean? Well, if there is a lawsuit, let's say in the US where this IP rights exist, then most of the exchanges will delist from the US markets. And if that happens, then there can be a huge crash in prices. So that's the risk for you as an investor when you're looking at a possible lawsuit against Phantom. And then the fact is that Phantom is highly centralized. Right? If you go to their Explorer, you'll see that their validator is just about 71. Right? In fact, in the most recent update on their website, they mentioned that just 4 new validators joined the Phantom network in August. In an entire month, only 4 new, and so right now they have probably about 75 active validator nodes. That's extremely low. Right? And very recently, I think a few months ago, there was a network outage. This does not happen to blockchains, right? I mean, it's not supposed to happen. Has Bitcoin ever faced a network outage? No. So the fact that there was a network outage, right? We saw that with Solana as well. If something like this happens even once, then I think I'm completely hands off a crypto like that. I would never invest in a crypto that has even occurred one network outage. Right? So that's a big risk. So what should you really be doing? Well, first one is I think you should do your own research. All these articles and websites that I just showed you are all linked in the description. You can go through them. So do your own research. Explore a basket of L1 and L2 cryptos, because ultimately you are like a venture capital or a early stage angel investor, right? So you have to take a bet, and the bet is that not all of them might survive. Right? There are tens of these L1, L2 cryptos, and maybe 5 to 10 of them will eventually survive. So if you bet as a basket, then maybe 1 out of 5 of the cryptos that you took a bet on might give you that 50x. The other 4 might just die, but on the whole your portfolio might still grow like 5x maybe. That's still good, and that's a better way to grow a portfolio and manage your risk. So do explore a basket of L1 and L2s. Figure out when to exit, right? This is the most important thing. Most people don't understand this, right? Most people probably just invest and then just hold on to it, stay there for a long time. But figure out when to exit, because even today, if you look at the Phantom price, it's probably, let's say, 93% down from its all-time high. Right? But if you want to make any good gains, then you should probably sell or know when to sell. So as you buy, make sure you put a target for yourself and say, hey, when this crypto goes from, let's say, 22 cents to $1, I will sell. Right? Take your money out, especially with a crypto like this, where I don't see a long term. This is something that you really need to factor in. Right? I don't normally mention this for other cryptos, but for something like Phantom, I'm mentioning this because this is a crypto where I feel that probably you can take a little bit of a risk and invest in it, but you should also exit it as soon as possible because there is no near-term roadmap. There are a lot of concerns, there are a lot of risks. So in the next bull run, I do see Phantom rising in price, but I think you should exit when that happens. So if you have already invested, then keep this in mind. And finally, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it, and welcome to the Wave Crypto Club. Stay tuned for more such amazing videos.